We are live.
Okay, hello.
नमस्कार.
सत श्री अकाल.
इन्होंने हेलो ऑलरेडी बोल दिया है.
आप और कुछ बोल दिए?
शब्बा क्या है?
और कुछ?
पता नहीं.
केम चो?
केम चो. हम मजे में हैं.
Like, subscribe, and send in your questions.
Yes.
And consolidation day for the markets today.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, it's been a flat day. No? मतलब, there isn't much of things happening. July is opening on a flat. मतलब फर्स्ट ओवर चल रहा है कि हम टेस्ट कर रहे हैं कि क्या हो रहा है. But you know, I think couple of news, global news, which is coming in and could be a tailwind for us. One is a tariff one, which is there, and my sense is that by this weekend we'll have something concrete. So
Between India and US, you mean?
Yeah, India and US.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because I think I saw one of the statement of Ludwig. He was talking about the fact that till July 4th they're trying to close the budget, and on or after July 4th is when they're going to start announcing the trade deals. So this weekend is going to be a little hectic. And I think the Indian team is still based out of US. They're trying to close the do the final negotiations and other stuff. So yeah, that's something which is important.
There's a headwind coming out of UK. Jasprit Bumrah might not play the second test.
Yeah. But he was not playing the first test.
He played the first test.
But he went through some surgeries or something. No?
नहीं, back, but वो तो ठीक हो गया था. बाद में he played the first test, but he's likely not playing the second test.
तो headwind क्यों है?
Headwind है भैया. वो बेचारा एक बॉलर था जो परफॉर्म कर रहा था. अभी वो ही नहीं है.
But what's the reason for it?
I think workload management.
Work-life management.
Workload management, भाई. 5 days of a test match he has to bowl. Keeps on consistently bowling.
Assuming that England 5 दिन बैटिंग करता रहेगा.
Tough है यार सजीत. 50-60 ओवर डालना, 30 ओवर डालना.
That's true.
Anyways, I'm upset with that.
I think इसलिए market flat है. Except for I think everything is down.
Yeah, PSUs are also down today.
PSUs are down. Small and mid cap are down 0.5%.
IPOs, the new listings are
new listing mixed. No, means Ellen Berry. I spoke to the management twice actually, pre-IPO and after listing, which I spoke to them. And I think that's one company which.
क्या करता है company?
So they make industrial gases, including argon and others, which are used in heavy industries like steel, pharma, bulk drugs. इसके लिए जो use होता है, gases जो use होते हैं. And they have that combination of on-site and merchant. Means merchant means आप cylinders में बेचो, means big cylinders में, और on-site मतलब you're setting up in the factory. So they have currently 15% of the revenues come from on-site, but on-site has a very high margin, and that's going to go up to 25-30% in the next 1.5 years, because a lot of capex where it is happening, they're setting up on-site plants, which is there. So after the IPO, they will be net debt zero. So there is a multifold increase in revenue, EBITDA, and profitability seen from what they are doing. So there is an upside which is there, and that's why I think even though the grain market was penciling in 55.57, the stock is up 23% or something from the listing price. So it is that, and the other one is a Globe Civil.
Got subscribed over 100 times or something, right?
No, 82 or something. But a small IPO, 119 crore IPO. I think we might be speaking to the management. We don't. I mean, the management has been very quiet. They haven't spoken to the IPO, but again, it's a good. It seems that they're into the infra space and other stuff. The two IPOs which are not doing as well is Kalpataru, Mumbai-based real estate company, and the second one is a Mumbai Raymond Realty. दोनों real estate companies नहीं कर रही हैं अच्छी basically. Kalpataru, for obvious reasons, they're raising 1,600 crores to reduce the debt and all, but they don't have a profitable track record of profits. They expect to be profitable in the next 2 to 3 years. I think 9 months later there was 5.5 crores ka net profit tha. That was the only thing they showed. But my thing is that for the full year they might end up in losses, because there's a lot of projects which are underway and cash flows nahi hai. So that's something which is there. And Raymond Realty is something which you guys discussed in the morning as well, right?
ठीक है, बट तो करने का क्या सजीत सर आईपीओस में?
आईपीओस में क्या
ये चार जो नए हैं उसमें क्या करने
मेरे को
का?
तो एलन बेरी अच्छा लगता है.
हाँ, एज अ
company from fundamentally point of view, because you when you speak to the management, when you see the kind of capex or the capacity they are adding, it clearly shows. We spoke about the small and mid cap companies raising capacities 1x, 2x, or 3x. I can see that in Ellen Berry. But real estate, my view. Pre-sales पे तो मैं नहीं जाने वाला. Whatever you say, whether Raymond says or Kalpatru says, Kalpatru was talking about 6,000 crores of pre-sales in this year, FY26. मतलब उससे कैश फ्लो क्या आता है भाई? पर आप तो प्री-सेल वाले. हाँ, आप तो प्री-सेल वाले भाई.
नहीं, हम बोल रहे हैं कोई मैट्रिक तो आना चाहिए.
ईवी भाई बेटा
बहुत लंपी बिजनेस है सजी. कैसे आपका ये बेटा इतना लंपी रहेगा, आप ट्रेंड जैसा कुछ कर ही नहीं पाओगे.
एक साल में नो ब्रेनर खरीदोगे, नेक्स्ट ईयर वापस बेच दोगे. बोलोगे ये ऐसे थोड़ी ईवी बेटा होता है. वही तो तकलीफ.
तो अभी आप एक साल में 4 बलून बना रहे हो, नहीं दूसरे साल में 6 बनाओगे,
नहीं
8 बनाओगे, फिर बलून फूटेगा.
You look at a business which is lumpy over a span of 3, 4, 5 years. Simple.
को इसको लेके जाओ रे, इसको लेके जाओ.
नहीं, रियल एस्टेट में तो you and me are on the opposite side. Forever.
चलो ठीक है. Yeah, PSUs was interesting, right?
Yeah.
And
I saw your graph actually. I don't know whether they are going to put in the graph.
Yeah, I think we should try and pull up this chart.
What graph is
it's
this?
It's a BSE PSU index. PSU index.
Yeah, which is so. मैंने ना थोड़ा एक दो statistics देखी. So I will put out those statistics for you and tell you.
I'm waiting for that graph to come.
It will come. Don't worry. आ गया. अब फैंसी हो गया हमारे प्रोड्यूसर्स. विंडो में डाल के
देखो तो.
अरे
लाइक, सपोर्ट, शेयर.
So 32% price CAGR as a cohort since COVID lows. 36% profit CAGR for PSUs as a cohort since COVID lows. 2024 FY25 was a bit iffy, and therefore a lot of people started thinking, oh, will this come off? But I think instead of bucketing PSUs as a single category, and then that chart tells you, right, that they grew profits really well. Companies with policy and demand tailwinds behind them should certainly be in your list, simply because PSUs don't get the multiples that private sector companies do.
I'm surprised why they don't get it. Every time we talk about PSUs and they think अरे PSU है इसको इतना multiple क्यों देने का? But what you said just a minute back, policy tailwinds behind them. If it's a PSU, policy tailwind will always be behind them.
नहीं, but कोई PSU
not true, sir.
ना हो गया.
Not 9 out of 10 times.
Not true,
sir. Trying to tell you.
नहीं, but हाँ. But वो sector may be not in favor, right?
Correct.
For example.
Could be. But I'm saying policy will be in favor of them. No government will come and say कि भाई PSU के against जाएंगे. There will be a policy which will be always.
No. Okay, so what I meant by
supporting
policy
the PSUs.
कैसे OMCs for the longest time were well distressed, right? Because policy was always against them. भाव नीचे गया crude का.
So policy is
2020 से देखो ना.
नहीं, but मैं बोल रहा हूँ. So policy will always be in favor. May not be true, but जहाँ पे policy or demand tailwinds हैं वहाँ पे. So the Motilal Oswal note says that their top PSU ideas based on these things, right, are SBI. And we had by the way, Vishy did a fabulous interview with SBI management.
Yeah, we should drop it.
Yeah, drop it. Yeah.
And you should see it. So SBI, HAL, no surprise there. BEL, no surprise there. Power Grid,
no surprise
because just a steady, slow state company. The one interesting one was Coal India.
Even that's not a surprise.
Yeah, which is I call it interesting.
I was looking at IPOs, and because HDB Financial is going to list.
आप private में मत जाओ, पहले
private में जाना. मैं कर रहा था 10,000 करोड़ के ऊपर का IPO है ना वो. So I was looking at it for last 5 to 10 years. Whenever an IPO of more than 10,000 crore has come in, only 2 companies have seen a premium listing. One is Coal India, another is NTPC Green. बाकी सबके negative listing हुए.
और कोल इंडिया भी आप अगर, और मैंने इस पे रील किया है, बट कोल इंडिया भी अगर आप 1 या 2 साल पहले जाओ, when the stock price was maybe between 300 and 400, still would be around that range, but slightly lower than what it is right now. If I remove the dividend, then literally zero returns, despite it listing at a premium. If I remove the dividends, because that's, you want value appreciation and not just dividends. So and even the dividends are not like 10-15%, maybe in a year or so it may have been, but outside of that, so
it's not done too much. No, but the reason why I think they are saying demand tailwinds is because मैंने कल ही ये BHEL का stock ऊपर था, because they got orders from Adani Power for 6 thermal plants. 6 thermal power plants. I think 4,500 gigawatt. Something. I'm forgetting the exact number. मुझे याद है कि so मतलब boss, thermal power, I think countries are realizing that you can't just wish it away, and therefore Coal India is in the thick of things, so it could be interesting.
Thermal power is going to be the base power for any country which is claiming to be a green power in the future.
20 साल तो लगेंगे मेरे हिसाब से।
नहीं 20 भी अगर तुम 40 साल भी रखोगे तो you need to have a base ना, आपको पीक लोड मैनेज करेगा, पर बेस लोड जो है वो थर्मल पावर ही देगा।
I agree, 20 साल के लिए तो seems like.
So therefore this list of companies is interesting, and which is why I think I just wanted to put that chart just to show that PSUs are actually doing really good work.
And we said, who said PSUs, it will be the year of PSUs?
You said.
हाँ I said ना,
बोला ना सजीत ने, अभी तक हुआ है ईयर ऑफ PSU कितना ऊपर BSE PSU इंडेक्स?
भैया अभी आपने 5 मिनट उसी में खर्च किए BSE PSU।
मैं बोल रहा हूँ यहाँ से इन्वेस्टर के लिए।
This is a year।
हाँ तो आप बोल रहे हो नेक्स्ट 6 महीने में हो जाएगा ईयर। ये बात हम दिसंबर में करेंगे।
In December he'll tell you financial year की बात कर रहा है।
When he reach financial year से क्या रे? हाँ पर वो तो 2025 की बात थी। 26 में तो होगा ही होगा।
1 year forward बात कर रहा था मैं। Financial year 1 year forward।
अरे आपके एनालिस्ट ये सब चीजें हर साल के रोल ओवर करते हैं, उससे कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। मैंने रोल ओवर अगर करूंगा तो प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगी। वाह क्या बात है। बट आई डू,
पब्लिक है, हमारा ओपिनियन है।
बिल्कुल जनता
है, सब जानती है। So what's happening? SGB फाइनेंशियल पूछ ले इनसे कल कैसे लिस्ट करेगा?
कैसे करेगा?
I mean tough to call यार। I mean कैसे करेगा is a tough question, but
retail participation was very muted, huh?
Was muted 1.5 times.
Yeah,
but the size also of the island huge।
12,500 करोड़ किसको बोलते हैं?
रिटेल का
कितना था?
बताओ,
आप बताओ।
2-2.5 हजार करोड़, उससे ज्यादा नहीं। तो फिर
2,500-3 हजार करोड़ होगा। हाँ
तो फिर
5,000 करोड़ फिर भी रिटेल ने डाला, मतलब गिव और टेक सम,
कुछ भी
5,000 करोड़ डाला ना रिटेल ने। 4 से 5,000 करोड़ डाला रिटेल ने,
पर वो कम है, वो मैं बताने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ।
सर 5,000 करोड़
ठीक है
रिटेल डाले, डिसेंट है।
It's a season of IPOs, a clutch of IPOs going on. Retail investors are spoiled for
choice. और काफी चैटर भी था ना ये IPO पे, जो ग्रे मार्केट में जो और rather unlisted मार्केट में जो हुआ, people may have burnt their fingers, people may have wanted to stay away, some bit of pessimism. It wasn't exactly cheap.
70 rupees premium or something that will come in, but my sense
wasn't
is
exactly
more than that. I think it's going to be
more
more
than that. My sense is more, but I mean,
yeah,
you can't put it out.
No, I'm telling you, it's going to be more than that, primarily because the kind of demand which is coming in the QIB portion and the NII portion. NII ठीक है, बेच के निकल जाएंगे जो भी है उनका, but QIB
में काफी interest है।
I mean, there is quite interest, quite a few interest.
55 times over
55 times in QIB. So imagine that everyone would want to have some bit of that in the portfolio on listing. So there will be a squeeze which will come in.
But I read this somewhere. Ola के IPO में solid frenzy था. Institutions came in and really bought. There were 30 plus mutual funds which came and invested.
₹1 का premium.
So clearly that's not worked out for them, and they have also, a lot of them have sold, and this is again insti money, or rather institutions coming in and putting money.
No, but after listing it did do well, right? For a brief period. Yeah, 75 वाला अगर 150 जा गया, so
और अभी कितना है? 35-40
होगा,
40-45 होगा मेरे हिसाब से. But I mean, I'm sure that quite quite a few of them may have really
Burn their hands.
not done well. Yeah, so
No, that's why I was saying that I was looking at IPO about 10,000 crores and I saw only two IPOs, NTPC Green and Coal India, listing at a premium.
एनटीपीसी ग्रीन का कल सवाल भूल गए.
मुझे
यार,
लगता है आज
closing में
प्रॉफिट
क्या-
टीम को बता देते हैं कि आप लोग ले लो. नहीं यार, बट वी शुड. अनफॉर्चुनेट है कि बात नहीं कर पा रहे हैं इसके बारे में.
Yeah, NTPC Green is.
Let me hunt for a report. Meanwhile, you guys talk about the next one.
Yeah. So next one is, I think we have a couple of questions coming in. Stocks taken in KYC show are interesting. I'm struggling to keep my portfolio under 30 stocks. So good job. He's adding every time you're doing a KYC, is it? Begin. Every time he does a KYC, you are adding a stock to your portfolio.
बाप रे.
ऐसा मत करो यार.
Thanks Vikin though.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. उसके अलावा है then अभिनय
Abhinay Gupta. Hi Niraj, what major theme market is signaling for the next 6 months? Metals, auto, EMS. I'm guessing it's EMS that he's talking about, or
Yeah.
NBFC. NBFC, yeah. Niraj sir is
What?
completely.
For the
Next 6
demand tailwinds, yeah, NBFC.
NBFC.
Plus the valuations are in favor, and therefore, but over a 5-year period, EMS still looks good. Yeah, I'm very convinced about some EMS players because the managements are strong. They have the policy tailwind. आज, for example, I'm not saying it's an EMS player, but I'm just बोल रहा हूँ कि KRN Heat Exchangers was on air. They've gotten a PLI benefit. So it's not technically an EMS, but आप बोल सकते हो कि वो एयर कंडीशनिंग कंपोनेंट्स बनाता है, तो आप कह सकते हो कि शायद EMS भी कह लो उसको.
and it is I think expanding its capacity and
Expanded.
expand हो गया और and still it needs to build more, right?
So-
the kind of order book it's sitting on is good, right?
हाँ, मुझे so I don't remember the exact order book number, but I'm just saying
वगैरह बनाता है ना ये.
हाँ exactly 141 करोड़ का PLI मिला है. 1000 करोड़ का राजस्थान गवर्नमेंट के साथ MOU करा है. और मैनेजमेंट बोल रहा है कि उसका कैपेसिटी 6x हो गया है. इट्स ऑपरेशनल नाउ. He guided to FY26 में 60% growth.
Yeah.
Right? But no, the larger point is that a lot of these EMS players, small, mid-sized EMS players, not the Dixons of the world necessarily, are promising some very stellar growth in the next few years. So it could be interesting.
And good with good margins as well.
Decent margins.
Not
like 2-3%.
So
इसका 16-17% है KRN का.
Yeah. You have a view on Senco Gold. Jabia Consultancy has this question for you.
No.
Gold?
Did we do a KYC on them?
Senco
We
Gold?
haven't
I,
done one
no,
on
no,
Senco.
you did on
No,
Sky Gold.
sorry,
Not that I recall. Maybe
But
you
we can get you something.
hunt for,
Senco Gold and NTPC Green.
Yes. MP Jain has a question on is buying controlling stake in Sri Lankan shipyard.
Colombo Dockyard है basically. Colombo Dockyard.
We spoke to the management yesterday.
What is basically capacity augmentation for them, right?
Yeah, so two things. One is that it's a both B2B and G2G. But मैं B2B पे बात करता हूँ. बोलता है कि सस्ते में मिल रहा है. We believe that over a period of time with efficient operation ये सब उसका clean हो सकता है. हमें capacity मिल रहा है. Cross pollination मिलेगा. So all of those things augur well. So he was confident that in the next few years, this purchase will actually reap some very rich dividends for the company.
True. I think if I'm not wrong, in the earnings call, Mazagon went and said that the amount of orders we are getting, we are falling short of capacity to manage that. And what he was saying in your interview only that they may shift all their ship repairs to that document.
Yes.
Simple as that. So that's a very good thing in that sense. It opens up capacity in its India shipyards for making those big ships and other stuff which is coming in.
Yeah.
So वो capacity augmentation यहाँ पर multifold हो जाता है इसके वजह से. So from that point of view, it's good. Yes, it's a loss-making thing, but you can turn it around.
Yeah.
And Mazagon has enough capital and
and firepower also.
also.
मतलब cash flow is good.
Yep.
Sadanand Sinha, kudos to NDTV for fantabulous show. Thank you. Can you please describe what is happening with Havells? मिस्टर राय के साथ आप हमेशा हर क्वार्टर बात करते हैं.
हाँ नहीं, सो मिस्टर राय के साथ मैंने उस दिन आई थिंक 5-6 दिन पहले ही बोला था कि वी आर ट्राइंग टू डू अ फैक्ट्री विजिट विद अनिल राय गुप्ता and then try and talk to him about how does he see the next few years. Because see, I think it's a clutch of businesses. Lloyd's, until it started working, was not working at all, and then suddenly Lloyd's became a good piece for them, but the other pieces are now seeing increased competition, right? Cables and wires, etc., and stuff like that. So he's been hit by a few things here and there, but they've got good capacities, great branding, and be interesting to see that with the added capacities coming on stream from Havells, because they had embarked upon some capex and consolidation. They were very frugal, by the way, with that. It'll be interesting to see how does Anilay Gupta think of the next 5 years, because I think anybody in this space still has a right to win. If they have the right to win, then they can really win, because it's a fast moving electrical goods segment with a lot of
smart,
good brand recall
and
distribution
and
reach.
one of the disruptions which is coming into this electrical goods, or what you call household appliances segment, is this smart appliances which is coming in, which is a high end one. Earlier क्या होता था कि the average fan would be 1,200-2,000 rupees. Now you have fans going up to 15,000-30,000 rupees and all.
हमारी तनख्वाह में हम नहीं ले सकते सर, आप ले सकते हो।
नहीं, मैं भी नहीं ले सकता, मैं भी नहीं ले सकता, but
30,000 का पंखा सजीत सर ले सकते हैं।
नहीं, मैं नहीं ले सकता, but what I'm trying to say is that these are high end ones which are now getting sold much more in terms of units. So I was speaking to Kent RO management. They're coming with an IPO as well, and they have a brand called Cool.
हेमा मालिनी जी थी साथ में?
नहीं, हेमा मालिनी नहीं थी, अभी जब IPO होगा शायद होंगी. But what they were saying is that this segment has grown multifold in the last 3 to 5 years.
Interesting.
But
low base maybe
60,000-70,000 units.
Okay.
He's talking about. Atomberg is one of the big players in this segment.
Yes.
In this segment, you have Havells now entering it. You have Bajaj entering with a high-end one. So that segment has just expanded on top, like remote and everything kind of thing
With light
and everything.
with remote.
You must seen those ads, right?
Pretty cool.
So that disruption and margin expansion which is there is also big here.
हमें लास्ट दिए हमें अभी रिमोट की भी अभी हम लोग सीधा बोलते हैं Alexa switch on the fan. लाइफ इतनी कन्वीनियंट हो गई है, but we will, so the day before we go to Havells we will talk about this here कि क्या सवाल पूछने हैं अनिल गुप्ता को, we'll ask. चलो.
And you can give us questions in the comments as
Exactly.
well. If we find some interesting questions, you may well find Niraj asking your question without attributing it to you.
Yes, most certainly. No attribution, sorry.
Begin is asking, Divina Mera is bullish on FMCG. I think she came on yesterday.
Yeah, she came yesterday and said.
This is the first quarter with benefits of personal income tax benefit, which companies are likely to show increase in revenue.
Sir, आप 5 question ignore कर दिया आपने.
अच्छा ऐसे?
कोई बात नहीं, भैया ये चालू किया था. I think Devina's a cyclical investor. She's seeing this at the bottom of the cycle, so she's buying it. We never know when she gets out of it, by the way, so keep that in mind. But could some of the companies which might show rural demand perk up? Very likely.
There's a interesting, इससे याद आया because we were talking about FMCG and we were talking about Q1 numbers. There's an interesting city report which talks about front loading of exports happening in Q1, and especially in the capital goods and electrical goods segment, where exports have gone up tremendously in the first quarter to the US. And they're countering it, saying that why we're saying that, because you have equally big amount of imports coming from China, because we are dependent on a lot of stuff from China, which is there. So some of the capital goods and electrical machinery companies may see a good revenue this year in first quarter. But they're warning, this is the front loading, so in the second half, which normally is good for them, may not be good for them. On full year basis, it may be nominal for them. That's what they're saying. So that's something which you will have to factor in. But FMCG, do you think personal tax benefits would have, flown through?
किसी एक फंड मैनेजर ने अपने ऑफिस में डिपस्टिक किया था, सब लोगों ने बोला था कि वी विल यूज द मनी टू गो आउट ऑफ इंडिया एंड डू हॉलिडे. सो पता नहीं अभी लोग साबुन खरीदेंगे, चिप्स खरीदेंगे या बाहर गांव जाएंगे.
And frankly, I mean, it's a very small component of the population that actually even pays taxes or even files returns. So कितना impact आएगा, और वो segment of the population को is really the question.
आपको ये बेनिफिट मिला है?
मिला है.
क्या आपने ज्यादा चिप्स खाई हैं?
मैंने SIP खोल दिया.
हाँ, कि ज़्यादा
मैं बता रहा हूँ
ज़्यादा chips
Invest in AMC stocks.
मैंने बताया, ये नहीं बताया कहाँ किया है, मैंने बोला कि एक SIP खोला है बच्चे के नाम पे।
चिप्स खाई,
हाँ।
ज़्यादा टूथपेस्ट यूज किया, ज़्यादा कोल्ड ड्रिंक पिया, नहीं
हाँ।
किया. So I don't know.
So it's coming to what, 5,000-6,000 rupees per month, 8,000 up to 8,000 per month, I think. If I'm not wrong.
8 to 10,000 depending on
which slab you are in.
maybe
Wasn't it-
5 to
wasn't
10,000.
I thought it was 12K per month.
No.
Budget के time में memory tells
Around-
me 12,000 per month था.
So it depends on your income range and where is it that you fall in the tax slab.
सजीत से ऊपर तो कौन ही होगा.
आप है.
सर पोल मत खोलिए हमारी. मैं अपनी पोल खोलूंगा.
मैं SIP करता हूँ, आप फॉरेन टूट जाते हैं सर.
सेविंग जीरो है. सिर्फ घुमा ट्रिपएडवाइजर पे सिर्फ वो है कि यहाँ जाके आया और कुछ नहीं.
अगला बताइए सर.
This Shika Reddy. If every country ends up making trade deals with others, then what will be the relevance of WTO? Nothing. I mean, I agree.
No, there will be na. Because trade deals are for specific products, right? Then there will be the what do you call it? The specific individual duties will still be there because the trade deal will happen on select products, not on all products. So therefore,
Begin. Does the
but it's a nice question.
Begin, Dharan, does the event of stock getting included in the index have meaningful impact in the near term?
It does on the day of the last day of trading, like
Effective.
in last Friday, right? Last Friday when sensex rejig was happening, we had a good amount of foreign money coming into BEL and Trent, and उनका FI numbers भी 7,000 crores plus था. So it's basically the passive funds which do a lot of rejig on the last day prior to the index rejig. बाकी सारे funds do it much earlier. Means अगर if they are benchmarked to it, otherwise I don't think इतना वो होता है. So BL में जो इतनी buying हो रही है पिछले एक महीने से, वो I think it's classification of the index.
But I remember some point of time Darshan Mehta
हाँ.
in our earlier team used to
हाँ.
say winner's curse.
हाँ.
जो इंडेक्स में आया उसकी पनौती लगती है, जो बाहर निकला उसका स्टॉक ऊपर जाता है. But
look at UPL, look at Divis. Yeah. There are examples even here. You don't have to go back to.
But Eternal has done okay.
Eternal has
despite
done okay.
coming in the index.
But these two have come out and look at the rally in both of them that we've seen.
Because the index is the last. इंडेक्स वालों को पता नहीं लगता है कि कब साइकिल टर्न हो रहा है.
इसका FNO से भी निकल गया ना, डिवीज वगैरह तो.
डिवीज I don't know if FNO में होना चाहिए यार मेरे हिसाब से तो.
नहीं I don't know.
लिक्विडिटी की वजह से
UPL तो है.
लिक्विडिटी की वजह से बाहर निकला है तो फिर FNO से भी निकलना चाहिए ना.
Not sorry.
I need to check. There are 224 stocks in FNO, so I need to.
नहीं सर वो तो OMCs निकल गए इंडेक्स से, बट FNO में तो है ही ना.
मैं I'm saying कि check कर लेता हूँ मैं.
Very different question, and that's why I want to take it. Bishop Calistoga.
अरे वाह.
I have used all the strategies to increase my crypto portfolio, but I end up failing woefully. Please, can anyone help me with a reliable account trader and manager?
क्रिप्टो के लिए सर आप क्रिप्टो करते हो?
नहीं सर.
Yeah, I mean the recommendation here is don't do something you don't understand. If crypto is not something you understand,
exactly.
Don't do it. Simple as that. I mean, can be any account manager or whoever, doesn't matter. You won't make money if you don't understand.
You'll end up paying in the commissions but not the returns.
Yeah.
You'll not get the returns.
So don't subscribe to crypto here because none of us, I guess, understand it. Ajit Emmanuel, has microfinance bank cycle come back? Will gold loans and smaller housing finance bank stocks come under this?
Yes.
Yes to both, I think. Microfinance has come back.
So it's going to be a good quarter for them? For companies which have
not this, but maybe the next or the next to next, maybe a quarter or two. But abhi, you'll start to see commentary improve pretty much immediately. Is my feel.
Any view on Aisha Motors? Numbers have been good. June numbers have been up 16% or something. That's what Puneet was telling me. While Bajaj has been down.
And I think the consensus two-wheeler stock or consensus stocks, Aisha, TVS, M&M, these three are almost consensus for everybody.
Yeah.
So, महंगा है but
चलता है.
Sorry, maybe on closing we'll try and get. So what we'll do is
We should try to do something on iShares and
No,
iShares
but
versus
we'll-
Bajaj.
No.
You know, a pair trade kind of thing.
नहीं, वो तो पता नहीं, but मैं अभी वो क्या कर सकते हैं मैं
I
बताता हूँ.
just
When
want to
Puneet
tell
does
you
a-
we are not on
when-
closing today.
when Puneet comes in, and we can ask Puneet to talk about iShares performance.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
we
that
are
will give you an
not
idea.
yeah.
Chalo, Karna has a question on transferal lighting. You did an interview? कौन किसने?
Yeah, both of us did it.
Both of you did it.
मेरे
Very strong guidance, yeah.
15-20% हर साल for the next 5 years, right? That's
And
what
12% margin पे.
12% margin.
अरे
अच्छा business है.
As a resident real estate bear, Sajeet sir, what's your opinion on Gurgaon markets?
बोलो.
Bear हूँ तो पता ही है आपको क्या
नहीं, but the markets, the real estate investment might do well, right? Even if the stocks.
Sir,
down.
you have invested in real estate. No, you haven't invested in real estate stocks. You invested in real estate. No.
हाँ पर वो मुझे उसी तो बोल रहा हूँ कि
क्यों? Has that not appreciated?
No. What are you saying? इतना supply आ रहा है. The appreciation is not
आपने
happening.
लिया था तब से ऊपर है कि नहीं है?
नहीं है, नीचे है, नेगेटिव है.
क्या बात?
हाँ, मैं बताऊंगा आपको. वो बहुत ही दुख
अच्छा,
भरी
क्या बात कर रहे हो?
दुख भरी कहानी.
And you were encouraging.
I'm not encouraging.
You had encouraged me to buy. I remember.
No, I encouraged
घर
you to
तो
buy.
लेना चाहिए.
No, I didn't buy. I'm not talking on Bombay. I'm talking of Delhi NCR.
अच्छा, okay. Sorry. My bad.
आप भूल गए. सजी सर के पास बॉम्बे में घर है, दिल्ली में घर है, केरला में acres and acres of land.
नहीं ऐसा कुछ.
He's a landlord.
नहीं ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. केरला में हमारे पास
जमींदार.
आप सोलर पावर प्लांट डाल लो 300-400 एकड़ में.
नहीं. बात में सोलर पावर है मेरे घर पे, ऐसी बात नहीं है.
हाँ, देखो कौन से घर में है सोलर पावर?
केरला में है.
देखो केरला में घर निकला.
जमींदार.
मैं झूठ क्यों बोलूं?
मत बोलो. This is why we like you, sir.
हाँ. अगला बोलिए.
Last question है guys.
कल्याण का. हर्ष जी, why don't you guys call up one analytics from rating agency and discuss nifty target? है?
Guys, I'm sorry, but I'll have to.
हाँ.
There's a call coming. I'll have to leave. Any it's about time. So, but
Yes.
thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. I'll have to
Eureka
leave.
Forbes is there. One question for you. Do you have anything?
I don't actually. Yeah, but Eureka Forbes I've always found very interesting. So I'm
Pratik,
trying
yeah.
to get them
Yeah.
for a KYC, but I know that it'll get hijacked by IMO.
But actually, after the new investor has come in, there has been turnaround.
There has been.
In the company, because I have heard good things about how competitive they are, but they're not in the high-end market. They're into the I think the mass and the premium, not the luxury kind of market which is there.
Yeah.
Indostar Capital.
I actually need to study that. I haven't been able to, but I really want to. Indostar is one which I really want to study. I have a question here by Nagesh Golavili. He said that NBFCs moved in the last 2 months, but Equitas Small Finance Bank has not moved. My friend, Equitas is a small finance bank. NBFCs have moved because the repo rate has been cut. So their borrowing cost has come down. Not necessarily for banks. And Equitas is a small finance bank where margins have been under pressure and will likely continue to be under pressure. You'll have to wait and watch as to
small
what
finance
increases.
banks are giving a higher rate of interest for your savings deposit as compared to a nationalized or a scheduled bank.
Correct.
So the cost of borrowing for them is anyways high.
Correct. But if that comes off, then you could well see some tailwind. And you also have seen a cycle, which is a bad cycle. So in case of an improvement there, you might well want to watch. IDFC First, there's a very interesting note. High conviction outperform by Investec. Sorry, upgrade to buy by Investec. Target price 90, 24% upside. They're saying that they're taking the cost ratios or the OPEX in the PNL very seriously. That will come off and ROAs will go up. So they are very bullish with regard to this one. You're seeing a 4% surge on that counter as well today.
Arjun Sarkar has an interesting suggestion actually. Why not allocate 6% of your time on global equities just like PPFAS?
समझ में नहीं आता है यार सर अभी तक मतलब sorry but I don't understand it as well. So I haven't spent time.
Yeah, it requires a lot of work because those markets are multiple markets and multiple influences happening in that.
Yeah, I mean
So
we're closer to domestic and therefore
it's better to you focus on domestic, but Point taken. If you have any particular query on global markets and how Indians are investing there, share with us. We may share with you.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. I mean, I just feel we should do what we know. So,
Yeah.
and we know Indian markets best, and therefore we do Indian markets. So,
Okay. There's a CAMS thing
just
which is there.
too many questions
Too many
today.
questions are coming in. CAMS. Uh, I think Q1 is going to be a little tough for many of the capital market intermediaries like CAMS because turnovers and transactions have been lower. So I think there would be some impact on that, on the transaction revenues for these companies, which is there.
Arjun, IDFC first we've answered. IRCTC relatively undervalued compared to peers or past. You want to answer that?
Yeah, I mean it has an interesting mode because it's trying it provides railway tickets and everything. And by the way, I just read somewhere maybe a few days back that they're increasing the capacity by 2x or 3x. In the next, so you will be able to do multiple processing of tickets in a minute as compared to what you used to do earlier. So yes, it has a mode. It works, and we need to see whether how scalable it is, because the pricing has been very stable because it's meant for the masses. So they have very small amount of transaction charges which is there. So but it's a platform, by the way, among all platforms, this is a PSU platform which is profitable.
Yeah.
At one point in time it was heading towards a 1 lakh crore market cap or something.
Yes.
Yeah, but if you are looking at really a profitable business, this is a profitable platform business, which is.
Yes, it is. Government owned, of course. So
Yeah,
it has
government
its
owned.
downside
But
risks.
I feel that of course you need to give a slight discount to them, but today's government is much more savvy in market sense.
Yes, it is.
And so you have to look at the PSU companies as also savvier, because they are also supposed to provide returns and dividends to the government.
Yes.
So that target on them, which may not be as aggressive as a private sector, but there is a target on them saying that you need to have this much of ROC, you need to have this much of top line. These are the commitments they have to make before the financial year begins to the respective administrative ministry, saying that this is what they have to do.
Yes, but don't forget one thing, and so sorry, but I'm going to contradict you here. At the end of the day, government and PSU companies are built to serve the people just as much as make a profit. So anytime there is a headwind, the government PSUs will be the first to be told to ask to serve the population, which could dent profitability to that extent.
I agree with you.
So that's something that one must always bear in mind.
I totally agree with you. There's a national duty.
Yes.
Which they have to perform,
Yes.
but that does not happen every year or every month.
No, it doesn't.
It happens once in a while when it is a crisis, when they're asked to step in.
Yes.
So at that point in time, I don't think that should be a criteria to derate any of the PSUs.
No, it's not. But it's something you should bear in mind if you are.
But it also means that there is a sovereign backing.
Yes, there is a sovereign backing,
which is not available to a private sector.
Yes, and their lending rates are super low. I mean, I did Power Grid's KYC. That's how I kind of tried to distinguish between Power Grid versus others. And the lending rates are just so low. It's sub 7%. It just looks amazing for someone wanting to allocate large amounts of capital in transmission assets. So interesting, yes.
So there's another question, Aditya Thorat, which is he's asking on some chatter about paper sector in terms of new packaging opportunities. I haven't heard it. Have you heard anything on that?
No visibility. Sorry.
There's one question from Vignesh on ITC. Like FMCG companies, it's been languishing. It's not doing much there. There has been a demerger of hotels and
but
hotels.
थोड़ा तो growth है sir in comparison to other FMCG. HUL and all में तो growth ही नहीं है यार. मतलब sub 3%.
लोग cigarette फूक रहे हैं ना.
Correct. So cigarette kind of adds to that.
And it's a free cash which is coming in. It's high dividend high returns also, which is there for them. So from that point of view, it's much more better place than an FMCG company.
Safer. 3-4% dividend yield.
I think the next big trigger for them would be demerger of other companies, like maybe a paper company, or for that matter, IT company, which they have or something.
I don't know if they'll do that because it's all housed under the ITC brand name. So
that is true, but even ITC Hotels was housed in the ITC
brand. ITC Hotels was a different brand name of ITC Hotels, and therefore it was easier to do. And plus, there is my understanding, sir, there are interlinkages within businesses. So the agri business is interlinked because tobacco is interlinked with the cigarette business. It becomes difficult. The e-chopal business is very good, but again there's an interlinking. My limited understanding.
I think if FMCG, other FMCG category within the
हाँ वो कर सकते
merge हो
हैं. Yes,
जाता है
yes,
ना,
वो कर सकते हैं.
तो I think
वो
there will
कर
be a
सकते
huge value unlocking for ITC as a cigarette business, which is
करेक्ट. पर उसमें भी थोड़ा इंटरलिंकेजेस है, वो पेपर एक्सेट्रा,
वो सब छोटे छोटे बिजनेस है which are
पैकेजिंग बिजनेस, वो हाँ. So yeah.
So
But
yeah,
yes,
I think we are at the end of this.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, there are too many questions for us
Yeah.
to handle in today.
There's
So
one question on NTPC and NTPC Green which you should pick up.
I won't be able to pick up, but I'll have someone else
Yeah,
pick it up.
or we speak about it tomorrow. I
Yeah,
think.
tomorrow. We'll do
speak
that
about it.
tomorrow. I know NTPC, I saw that.
Ashi, you're asking a question on NTPC.
On NTPC, not NTPC Green.
I know.
Yes, I
There's
read
an
that.
NTPC Green pending question which is there, which we
Yes.
need to pick it.
We'll pick it up. We'll pick both of those up. But apologies, guys, and thank you so much. It's very heartening to see that there are so many people asking so many questions. Always good. Thank you. I hope you found this helpful. Subscribe, please hit like, hit subscribe. I can't see likes over there. Please hit like, guys. Please hit like, please hit subscribe, and continue to watch.
And do due diligence before you invest.
Yes, please.